You're listening to the Dollop on the All Things Comedy Network. This is an American history podcast where each week I, Dave Anthony, read a story from American history to
his best friend, Gareth Reynolds, who has no idea what the topic. Well, it's going to be about JD Vance. So,
shit, man.
I know that now. I've learned that. You teed that up in the last episode.
You like him so far?
I do. I like him. I like what I'm hearing. I like what I'm learning. And, you know, I really, I feel, I guess, as a guy who didn't know a lot about him, there's something I didn't like when I just kind of saw him, but now I'm kind of going, okay.
Yeah, a little Bilbo-esque,
you know, we're kind of lifting up the rug, and I'm going, oh, there's some cute stuff under there.
He's like a hobbit.
Yeah, and it's so much of it's, you know, just kind of, he's just so influenced by Tolkien, which I just love.
That's what's great about him. He took away the best parts.
I remember when I watched the first Lord of the Rings, I thought, that could be the Senate.
Yeah.
That's it.
We also have a little Dollop Plus on Apple on the podcast app there. You can you can find some reverse dollops and
reverse smollops, please.
Smollops and UK episodes, and we'll be adding more and more as time goes on. And then we have a Patreon with different stuff, video content over there.
We do the Chollop.
We do the Chollop,
which is a weekly chat about America, and it's been pretty consistent recently.
And then we have a whole series.
And let me tease this: there was an episode of the Chollop where people go, "God damn, Dave sounds optimistic. I feel good."
Yeah,
and then that got shredded for the last 3 weeks.
Sorry about that.
But also Luke Likes a Snack, which will be coming back. Van Life, our series of when we went on tour and we made van sketches.
It's like The Office in a van.
We picked ourselves up.
That's right.
Much like Charlotte's new TV show that she's self-released called Buried.
Charlotte George is
you can go see buriedtheseries.com.
A very talented woman who does a lot of research for the Dollop.
This episode,
she's in Down Under, as they say, and with the koalas and pterodactyls, and she has done this new series that I've seen the first episode. That's all. I think maybe the second one's out yet, but the first one's great. It's a really good looking episode. I've seen all the trailers.
I'll tell you what, it is good looking.
Stop talking.
I wouldn't kick buriedtheseries.com out of bed. You know what I'm saying? I'd hit it and refresh it. Cut me off.
2016. Ron Howard has come aboard as director, and Brian Glazer is going to produce the film of the book Hillbilly Elegy by JD Vance. Mm-hmm. So it's a big time for JD, and so he is splitting his time between Ohio and D.C., where he's doing VC work, and in Ohio, that's where his charity work is happening. So he starts Our Ohio Renewal, which is an advocacy organization, a nonprofit, to help Ohioans with social ills, the ones he had discussed in his book.
Sure.
The ones that he said it's all your fault.
Yep.
One of the people he brought onto the advisory board was Sally Sattel. She is a DC psychiatrist who lectures at Yale, if you can imagine. I don't know where he met her.
Wonder.
She's also a senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute.
Sure, always.
AI, of course, founded as a response to FDR's New Deal to show why socialist programs are bad and the free market is good, and has churned out right-wing garbage ever since.
It is so shocking how the level at which, you know, we still are. It's like, what was the secret sauce under FDR? What was it? It's just like, oh yeah, it was wealth distribution.
Yeah, that's it. So Our Ohio Renewal raised $221,000 in 2017. At Revolution, he's making deals in a bunch of different companies.
There, he's for profit.
Mm-hmm. One of those was App Harvest.
App Harvest?
App Harvest.
The way to grow tomatoes through your phone.
Revolution ended up doing 4 rounds of funding for App Harvest.
Okay.
App Harvest promised to use cutting-edge technology and local workers in Eastern Kentucky to produce vegetables on an industrial scale.
Man,
Gareth,
I swear to God, we have to stop.
We have
to stop. We have to stop. We have to stop. We need to stop. All the things that we are now trying to solve with these things, we had figured out. And it was working, and it was okay, and we had it going. We just wanted to make more money instead of doing the thing anymore, and we need to go back to when we're like, we don't need all the money, we also just need food.
Yeah.
We cannot just be going like, here's how we're going to do it.
It's time to redo vegetables the way we did Uber with taxis.
Have you done your farmer update?
Oh, God. The founder said his new version of agriculture would help replace the dying coal industry in the area. Jobs.
Like, what
They're going to have jobs.
Is happening?
Gareth, jobs. Tomato jobs.
Silicon Valley here to solve your coal issue. And the issue, not enough coal.
Yeah, the issue is jobs. And so they're like, we'll get you working on tomatoes.
Oh, my God.
As part of JD's giving back move, he put together a bus tour of VC guys and politicians. In February 2018, House Rep and Democrat Tim Ryan, along with Silicon Valley House Rep and Democrat Ro Khanna, and of course JD Vance and some other VCs, it was billed as a Ryan bus tour to drum up investment in the area. So, two Democrats highlighting a returning hero, JD Vance.
And what are they trying to do? They're trying to raise money?
Yeah, to get people interested in the area, like these VC guys. It's like it's a little pat yourself on the back. I'm trying to do something, politician move. And then, have VC guys to like meet local business guys and have them go like, you can have your
to love
here.
that people from government are like, we're going to hit the road and try to get the citizens some money. What do you do? I'm a congressman.
In August 2019, JD was baptized into the Catholic Church.
Wow.
It's called timing. Conservative writer Rod Dreher.
They make holy water? JD, don't drink that.
Conservative writer Rod Dreher, who was there, told Politico that JD is, quote, thinking broadly about how all must join in the great struggle against darkness, and how God can use the humble and the lowborn to do great things. That's what I said. Think about it.
This one didn't come out of the mouth. He was a lowborn.
Think about it. Who would have imagined that sad, scary little Ohio boy living in a wreck of a family would have come through it all and risen to the gates of supreme political power?
Stop.
What might God be doing with him? JD Vance might be Frodo of the Hollers.
Oh, my God.
A veritable hillbilly hobbit.
Dave, get the bucket. I'm going to fill it. Oh, my God. Who said that?
By the way, by its very nature, a hobbit is a hillbilly.
Who said that?
This is this guy, Rod Dreher, who is a writer. He's a conservative writer.
Oh my God!
I'm sure you've seen his dipshit tweets on Twitter, but
he's Frodo.
Hillbilly Hobbit is the best.
Hillbilly Hobbit.
The Hillbilly Hobbit. JD is part of a dangerous sect of the Catholic Church.
Jesus. I mean, not Jesus.
Rick Pidcock.
What?
I mean, it's a terrible name.
It means little dick in Greek. It's a pidcock. It's a micropenis.
Do you want me to put my pit in you?
What do you mean take it out? It's been out the whole time. I've got a pidcock.
Pidcock wrote in...
Pidcock. It's like if a pin was skin.
Come on, I've got to be from the Lord of the Rings, right? It was originally Widcock.
I get pidcock.
He wrote in the Baptist News that JD is affiliated with a radical traditionist sect, which is run by Christian nationalist extremists, and they are known as Rad Trad.
I'm going to beat the shit out of you. Is that okay? I'm going to beat you with a microphone. Is that okay?
It's totally understandable.
I have no choice. I'm going to bludgeon you to death with the microphone I'm recording into. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay.
I get it.
I just want to be on record that this had to happen.
Yeah, no. And then, on the record,
trad.
They think Vatican II, which was a declaration in the 1960s, that the Catholic Church would no longer just use the Latin Mass and start talking to people in a language that they understand, is too progressive.
Oh my God. That is crazy
They
too.
want non-English masses.
What? Who goes to church and is like, this is a little too forward thinking. I'm grasping a little too much of this.
Quote, a small group of extremists opposed the change and began spreading conspiracy theories about gay Freemasons controlling the church and about the devil being afraid of Latin.
I mean, I don't know which one of those my brain can't wrap itself around harder.
Devil's afraid of Latin.
The devil? What?
I mean, watch The Exorcist.
What?
I'm just afraid of
Will
Latin.
you read those again? That is so funny to be like, he's like, all right, come on now. Stop it. Stop it. Why did they learn Latin? He goes back into his fire hole.
Opposed the change and spread conspiracy theories about gay Freemasons controlling the church and about the devil being afraid of Latin. It's just
those are equally infuriating.
It's just Pidcock, quote, during the past half century, this group of radicals have become increasingly militaristic.
I don't like the Pidcocks on our side.
In fact, Timothy McVeigh met with one of their priests from a fringe group known as the Society of St. Pius X.
St. Pius?
The night before the Oklahoma City bombing.
That guy the next day was like, wait, what did he do? I was just talking to that guy yesterday.
You talking about Timmy?
Who? What? Yeah, we had a hell of a... We talked for about 3 hours last night. He left nodding his head saying, something finally clicked for me.
Over the decades, TLM, which is... or Radtrad, traditional Latin Mass is what
it's like if Uber started a church.
TLM Catholics,
okay,
is traditional Latin
TLM.
Mass, have continued promoting anti-Semitic propaganda, opposing civil rights, spreading QAnon conspiracy theories, and equipping seminaries and churches with rifle ranges as training grounds for using weapons.
It's like... truly, we are now just like a think tank of evil, the country.
Yeah.
It's just like, what could you pitch? Like, what about priests with guns? Is that anyone feeling upset about that? You want to try that for a little while? What is going on?
The FBI wanted to investigate the group because of their obsession with violence and public weapons training, but that investigation was stopped by Jim Jordan and Josh Hawley claiming freedom of religion.
Oh, my God.
So the rad trads hate the Pope. They think Pope Francis is too woke.
Oh my God.
You know who else is a rad trad? Steve Bannon.
Oh fuck.
He has been influential in promoting TLM Catholics who oppose Francis and support Trump.
Oh my God.
2 years before he converted, JD met with Steve Bannon about possibly becoming the head of the Heritage Foundation.
Oh my God.
JD, quote, Steve Bannon and I are pretty close.
Oh, my God.
Bannon has been an evangelist for the trad rads, converting people in the Trump administration and working with wealthy MAGA donors to fund podcasts and influencers to convert people. The Independent looked at JD's follows on social media, noting, quote, several accounts on X that espouse far-right and white nationalist views.
Well, it's not shocking. What is shocking is following them.
Well, yeah. Why would you follow those
Because it's like
guys?
if you're creating your origin story meticulously and slowly, why would you be like, Steve Clannon? Okay.
Unless somebody else... so I think that these guys... make the mistake of thinking how unpopular their beliefs are. Like, I think they genuinely think a lot of people believe what they think, and
right.
It's not a big deal.
Right.
to
They
follow.
feel, well, truly part of what has become, really upsetting since Trump entered the genuine political game is the level of comfort that is felt by these people.
Correct.
To espouse these
and
things.
so you follow Hitler's bodybuilder, and you're like, yeah, it's just Hitler's bodybuilder. These include a lot of These include a lot of bodybuilders who are very popular with TLM Catholicism because strong masculine men who speak Latin will scare away demons.
That is so. Now you know what? It just became awesome. It just became the best. Just jack dudes learning Latin because they're like, look, man, when Satan comes out, you're going to need to understand how to get him to go back. Just getting jacked as fuck.
Oh, shit, man. Quote, one of the bodybuilders Vance follows is Raw Egg Nationalist, which is an account that has shared Adolf Hitler memes, quoted Mein Kampf, and promoted the Great Replacement conspiracy.
Checking a lot of boxes.
Checking a lot of boxes. The most boxes.
That's great. Good. Awesome. Well, that's good. I'll be honest, that I was a little worried about this guy for a while, but now it seems cool.
It does seem cool. We're winning, Gareth. Over 200,000 is how many followers that guy has.
That's also shocking.
Another bodybuilder JD follows has said, quote, I have said for a long time that I believe in a rule by a military caste of men who would be able to guide society toward a morality of eugenics.
Oh my God. That guy stuck the landing.
I mean,
that is...
Who wouldn't follow that guy?
I just... It's so fucking crazy to watch in this era what... Not... Like, when you remove giving people things, just like... like when we were talking about the UBI, what it does, like the fact that most people's brains, not most, but there's a huge part of the population whose brains don't go to like, hey man, we should be, especially religious people, where you're just like, hey, we should be taking care of the poor and like helping people out and all that. Instead, they're just like, look, it's going to be pretty important for priests to have AKs.
Yeah. What if Conan could quote Hitler?
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like Conan the Barbarian was good.
Yeah.
But what if he was just like, full on, like, what if it was Hitler the Barbarian?
Okay, so he has a hobbit on one shoulder and the other shoulder an elf, and then he's got Hitler tattoos.
How about this? How about a Hulk-like figure, but instead of getting angry, it's when he thinks about Jews he hulks up. Do you know what I'm saying? That could be, and let's just call that the political party.
Oh, fuck. TLM is a similar version of Catholicism to the one that Kansas City kicker Harrison Butker described when he claimed his wife's life started after she met him, converted to his religion, and became his homemaker.
This wasn't like a Project Veritas sting. This was a commencement address that he said that in.
Yeah.
And then I loved that too because I was like, now if you're a Chiefs player, this guy's a good kicker, for sure. He's a great kicker.
Yeah.
Yeah. God gave him a really good right leg or whatever. But don't you go like, that was fucked up. But instead they were all like, hey man, people believe crazy shit.
Everybody's got their own opinion.
Like Patrick Mahomes was just like, I mean, listen, man, I think like, hey, look, he's a great kicker. And in that locker room, a lot of people have like different beliefs. They were like, he literally said that his wife should sleep in a tomb where she doesn't get oxygen so that she makes better breakfast waffles. He's like, I know sometimes Brittany and I have had like a couple issues. So I mean, look, there's like Travis is with Taylor Swift right now. So there's like stuff like that all the time.
I keep my wife chained to the water heater in the basement and only let her out to bake pies.
He hit a 64-yarder. So it's like, that's crazy. Like that's shatter. Like nobody in Chiefs history has ever been able to do that.
So insane. Politico quote. Those close to Vance say he has been undergoing an awakening since he converted to Catholicism in 2019.
Sure.
These extreme Catholics also call themselves post-liberals.
Post-liberals.
They want to use government to force their extreme ideas on the rest of us. The LA Times, quote, post-liberalism has historical connections to 20th century European movements that are associated with authoritarian regimes like Francisco Franco's in Spain.
Jesus Christ. 19th century? Or did you say 20th century?
I said 20th century.
Either way. Jesus. It's very frustrating, Dave.
It's crazy. The year JD embraced Catholicism, Columbus Monthly reported that his nonprofit set up to help with the opioid epidemic was sponsoring Sally Satel to take a 1-year residency in Ohio. Now, there was a bit of backlash because in 2004, Satel had written an op-ed for the New York Times in which she said law enforcement was being obtrusive and that patients needed larger doses for pain.
Ugh.
Oh, and oxy, she said, is usually not the only drug found during autopsies.
Ugh. Ugh.
Just evil. Joe, where's my evilest pen? I have to write something.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind speaking a little Latin in front of her and seeing if she sunk through the earth.
What people did not know at the time was that AEI, where Satel was a fellow, got funding from Purdue Pharma, the maker of Oxy.
It's the worst.
That's the person he brings in.
It's just, it's the worst. It's so bad. The problems we're dealing with are so much worse than an opioid problem because we are addicted to a worse drug, and that drug is going to kill everybody.
Jesus,
for the most part.
And that drug is capitalism.
JD was now also securing funding to start his own VC firm.
Finally.
He promised investors he would not abandon the firm to politics. I might say this wrong because I didn't look it up. It was called Naria Capital.
Naria. Okay.
Naria Capital. Naria, of course, well, you know.
Yep.
One of the 3 rings of power, known as the Ring of Fire. Naria had the power to inspire others to resist tyranny. Gandalf wears it.
It's bottoming out every time you talk about the Lord of the Rings. Every time you talk about Lord of the Rings, I actually, it's making me hate the Lord of the Rings.
I agree.
It's a ring that Gandalf wore. You fucking toolbox.
They're all Elon Musk.
Oh,
fuck. John Shelton, who is policy director for Advancing American Freedom, which was founded by Mike Pence, broke it down. Quote,
let me tell you what's going on.
Gandalf, unlike the other great powers in Lord of the Rings, cared for the hobbits and other lowly people of Middle-earth. And so it is unsurprising that Vance would see himself as a kind of Gandalf, caring for the forgotten people in his hometown, keeping a watchful eye on them against the corrupting effects of the world.
However, it's insane, obviously, and the fact that it comes from the Mike Pence camp does not help.
What's happening?
But isn't he also saying that people individually need to take care of themselves, thus de-Gandalfing himself?
Yeah, but I think what they're saying is he's going to give them jobs, and then from there they take it on their own.
Man, Gandalf now sounds like such a tool.
Yeah, they're making Gandalf seem like a dick.
Big Gandalf who's getting high all the time is now like, well, you just need to simply learn how to code. Have you ever thought about something like that? That could be interesting, too.
So he raises $93 million to launch.
Oh, my God. It's
Naria.
The worst.
Thiel?
Well, actually, I think I'll be keeping most of it.
Guess who was an investor?
Thiel.
Oh, wow. Peter Thiel. Along with other big Silicon Valley names like Eric Schmidt and Mark Andreessen. The firm would focus on startups in the Midwest. JD also became interested in investing in tech platforms conservatives were into, like the social network Parler.
Oh, wow.
He advised Rebecca Mercer, who was the controlling shareholder in Parler, and even considered putting money in himself.
Wow.
Naria invested in Rumble.
By the way, great stuff.
Really? That same month, Wire reported about all the conspiracy videos on Rumble.
I mean, what? A lot of devil coming out of the earth, speak Latin at him.
If Jimmy Dore's conspiracy, I mean,
is Rumble still going?
I think so.
Okay.
Rumbling along. What's up?
What do you mean?
And he also invested in a little company called App Harvest.
Oh, yeah. Our boys.
App Harvest promised locals in Eastern Kentucky a new future. JD Vance was the lead pitchman, calling it a business that was for Appalachia by Appalachians.
He raised $93 million.
Yeah. It might have been more because I saw somewhere else. In a later report, it said 127. But
he could probably give everyone there $50,000. Can you imagine if he just Santa Claused around and just gave everyone $50,000?
I mean, yeah.
He would be the president.
Yeah. Yeah.
But instead he's like, we got to figure out how to gross. Shut the fuck up. You dumb little video game.
So JD says he loves the company and that it was making a, quote, big difference in the world.
That's what they all say.
And the company promised they were committed to Appalachia. They were there to bring jobs to replace those that had been lost by coal. And some bought it, and some left steady jobs to go work for App Harvest.
Oh, shit.
So they're growing indoor tomatoes. It's called vertical farming, right? So it's like
I actually am very intrigued by vertical
interesting,
farming. Yeah.
But things quickly turned when production fell behind.
Right. Well, yeah, because you can't rush tomatoes.
Many workers said it was due to mismanagement. One called it, quote, a nightmare that should have never happened.
Wow. I mean, if you're working in vertical tomato farming and you're calling it a nightmare that should never happen, pretty bad.
The workers said they were experiencing...
One of the tomatoes ate Ted!
We lost another Jimmy!
People losing hands.
Help!
Frank's on fire! I thought we were growing tomatoes!
Speak Latin at him.
The workers said they were experiencing heat exhaustion, working in temperatures up to 136 degrees with no water breaks allowed.
Stop.
No water breaks.
What the fuck? But tomatoes are they say you're supposed to grow them in 140 degree heat. That's why they always say plant them in the oven. You know that?
Oh God!
Wow.
Quote.
How much of this stuff because there's so much of this like with Amazon and that. How much of this do you think is actual just that Silicon Valley VC mentality of never stop working, you're costing us money? And how much of it is like, I control you?
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 50-50.
But I think a lot of it is like, well, me and 19 guys had an apartment and we all were working 18 hours a day to get our company off the ground. And that's why you can order a birthday card already signed off an app.
And I think they go, okay, yeah, we get it. You want to have 1 minute to sip water. Well, that 1 minute over a week is 7 minutes.
Right.
Those are 28 minutes over. And that turns into, and eventually you're costing us a year, and that's a year for free. Meanwhile, you're like, my doctor said my kidneys don't work.
Yes. So this is from a worker. Quote, by the way, this guy he's a single dad with 2 6-year-old daughters. Quote, a couple of days a week, you'd have ambulances show up and you'd see people leaving on gurneys to go to the hospital from heat.
Crazy.
Then the company cut worker benefits.
Those ambulances got a little more expensive.
Then they brought in foreign workers on work visas, about 500, the majority of the workforce. Anyway, Appalachia for Appalachians.
The Appalachia job program where's it at?
New Appalachians.
By the way, we've never needed more EMTs. So it is a bit of a localized project.
When we said it's the Appalachia of the future, we meant with a lot of immigrants.
Yeah, so, okay.
Because what you guys needed here was more poor people.
The amount of times that they try to pull that shit is always so funny too. Where like the idea that the rights relationship with immigrant workers is absolutely mind bending.
Yes.
It's like, Well, we need them to work the job so that our country makes money. Also, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Who invited you?
It's crazy. And yet, still, politicians like Mitch McConnell would come to App Harvest for events to say things like, quote, I like the idea of taking the tomato market away from the Mexicans.
Oh, my God.
For that event, they took all of the migrant workers out and moved them off the property. So it just
looked like
whiteface. Yes, they did whiteface.
Your name is Phil Lancaster. My name is Phil Phil. Just don't talk.
They did that anytime investors came through the plant, or really just any big person to look at what they were accomplishing.
This is Phil Lancaster. He's one of our best managers. No talking, Phil. We don't let him. No, time is money, Phil.
So they would just have white Appalachians there, and they said they felt like props.
Yeah, they were props.
Yeah. One worker, quote, he's gotten away with a lot of money and fame for pretending to be one of us. He's just another grifter, another carpetbagger, another tourist who wants to tell us what we are.
Yep.
So they're not big on JD.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's one man's opinion. Dude, can I tell you a not total non sequitur? I did a show in Denver a little while ago, and there was this guy in the front row with a John C. Lilly t-shirt on, and his grandpa was John C. Lilly. I was like, man, that's a weird reference. And he was like, that's my grandpa. I was like, yeah, God. For real. And he was like, no, that is my grandpa. I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, John C. Lilly. I'm like, the guy who convinced a woman to jack a dolphin off. And he was like, yep. I was like, cool.
Oh, wow.
I was like, how was he as a grandpa? He's like, pretty good.
Oh my God. So Narya has also invested in Hollow.
The promises they keep.
A Thiel-backed Catholic prayer app.
It's just crazy.
With a privacy policy that allows it to make its money from harvesting data.
Oh my God.
Just intimate religious data. No big deal.
It's like confession, but if it were a microphone.
It's like confession, but are you fucked?
Yeah, with your address and your information.
The app can also decide when to disclose user information to governments, law enforcement officials, or other private parties.
Oh my God.
So
awful.
So you're getting people to confess.
Yeah. You're getting people. It's basically you're like we're informant, the app.
Hey, welcome to Snitch.
Yeah. And what do you want to confess? Well, police.
Wait, what?
Open up, you fucking sinning piece of shit.
JD Vance also invested in the defense startup Anduril, named after Aragon's sword.
Wow. Why? How known is this this is not unearthed. Why is this?
I don't know why it's not something that
Why do you not have Tim Walz out there every day just fucking beating this drum?
Because I think so many guys in Silicon Valley are so into this narrative that I think a lot of people don't want to just go after
blow it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just so idiotic.
Yeah.
Narya also backs Amplify Bio, which tests drugs developed by other companies on live animals.
I knew it.
Many of the animals die. Others are killed at the end of testing. Amplify Bio also tests cell therapies and drugs derived from stem cell lines, according to Rolling Stone. That includes those from aborted fetuses or live embryos, which doesn't seem to jive with the whole rad trad world of.
Again, I was pretty sure.
Oh, but we're making money, so that's fine.
Sure. All those stems. So why can't we go find Bill Frist and just beat him with a bat?
That's a good question.
Okay.
So the animals live horrific, very short lives, just horrific, and they use. Makakus, what are those monkeys? They use the most intelligent monkeys.
Oh.
And so
that's a human.
Yeah, it's basically a human. Netflix released the film adaptation of Hillbilly Elegy in November 2020, starring Glenn Close and Amy Adams, and it was a flop. The New Yorker called it a libertarian's fantasy friends of JD have said the negative reaction was the last straw of his estrangement from elite liberal society.
So they broke him. That broke him.
Yeah, he was done with liberals, as if he wasn't already done with them.
Yeah, I mean, he's
a fucking rad trad.
Right.
Our Ohio,
I mean, the second you're hanging out with Peter Thiel, it feels like you're already pretty much, you've chosen your side.
Our Ohio Renewal, his Ohio nonprofit, was basically nothing. It was clearly set up to bolster his resume to run for office. Business Insider looked at the nonprofit's tax filings. In its first year, it spent more on management services provided by its executive director than programs to fight opioid abuse.
Man, that is so rampant and just... It's just it's honestly, it's like when I watch these fucking videos where they're asking me to donate for political, they keep going like, this is one of the last deadlines, so let's see if we can hit it. And you're just like, shut the fuck up. Yeah. You have the money. You have the big backers. Yeah. You go fucking do it. I'm not going to give you $5.
The deadline thing is hilarious.
The deadline thing is so
look, Gareth, if we don't make our money by the end of July.
The debate tomorrow.
Yeah.
The debate is tomorrow, so we really need to hurry.
Yeah, it's crazy. So the website is shut down. Its Twitter account, since inception, had only tweeted twice.
It was just suckers, and then later.
The nonprofit claimed it had done a survey to understand the needs of Ohioans, but there were absolutely no details on that.
Wow.
When contacted by Business Insider, quote, a spokeswoman for Ohio's largest anti-opioid coalition told Insider that she hadn't heard of Vance's organization.
Crazy.
Doug White, who is a nonprofit expert and ex-director of the master's program in fundraising management at Columbia University, was blunt after looking over the nonprofit's public records. Quote, this is a charade. It is a superficial way for him to say he's helping Ohio. None of that is actually happening from what I can tell.
But Ohio really is like the breeding ground for bullshit promises of the last 10 years.
It's been pretty good at it.
Where people are just like, we need to save your jobs. All right, fine. Get fucked.
Go fuck yourself. Of course, on July 1st, 2021,
here we go.
JD Vance announced he was running for the Senate in Ohio.
Let's go, baby.
Peter Thiel gave him $15 million.
The Everyman campaign.
It was the largest amount ever given to boost a single Senate candidate.
Isn't it so fucking awesome that we live in a time where that is not even really reported on much, and money in politics is so inherent at this point that $15 million to start your Senate race for regular people from a Silicon Valley billionaire doesn't even fucking get anywhere near the radar
at all. And I think it still is the largest amount. Like, I don't think that's changed.
So cool.
David Sachs, who's got some fascist leanings himself, a tech guy, gave $1 million. While he said things about not liking Trump, he soon became pals with Trump Jr.
The teeth.
Reuters, quote, Vance first caught Trump Jr.'s eye when he opposed aid to Ukraine during the Ohio Senate primary in 2022, a position that put him at odds with other Republicans in the race. Just a year after launching Narya, he took a leave of absence. Now the firm, which is set up to fund
some people just don't want to work.
Which is set he hasn't worked at all. The firm which is set up to help Ohioans and other people off the main track, right, to get funding. Now the firm is run by a partner from Darien, Connecticut, a bastion of the kind of wealthy coastal elites that JD now rails against.
Nice.
One Narnia.
No, it should be Narnia. It's fucking make believe.
one Narya investor had been promised JD would not abandon the firm for politics. Quote, I was personally disappointed after they said this wouldn't happen.
I mean, what the fuck? Yeah. I trusted this guy who's Peter Thiel's lapdog.
Tucker Carlson was an early supporter. Thiel tried to bring JD and Trump together. I think he took him down to Mar-a-Lago a couple times. Yeah.
Wow.
Took JD down to Mar-a-Lago. Remember, Thiel was really on the Trump train in 2016. Oh, yeah. Now he's not at all.
Yeah.
Trump, quote, JD is kissing my ass. He wants my support so bad.
Trump is... It's so... He's the worst. And yet when he talks shit on other awful people...
He's right.
Like, that was good.
It's like the best one ever.
He's kissing my ass.
Yeah. And the best one ever is when he was like, Bush isn't good on terrorism. He let the two towers go down. You're like, yeah, okay. Yeah. So JD's Tolkien-y extreme Catholicism is really taking root. At a closed-door speech in September 2021, he said, quote, I believe the devil is real and that he works terrible things in our society.
Wow.
Luke Burgess, a conservative professor at Catholic University of America, suspects, quote, he has an apocalyptic frame of mind, a final and all-encompassing battle between good and evil.
You know, sometimes that framing almost makes me feel a little better because I'm like, is it so it's not just money, but it is just money, right? Or do you think he actually has this internal...
No, I think he's fucked up. I think he...
You do?
Yeah, I think he's fucked up.
So you think he's using all... But he's also profiting madly.
Yeah. He could be... He's definitely a grifter. I mean, he's 100% grifter. This whole thing is grift. But, I mean, there's also the thing where he tells the people in front of him what they want to hear. That's why you're hearing bad stuff about him lately, because he'll go on a podcast and tell that person what they wanted to hear in 2020. And now it's coming back because that's all he is.
Yeah, right. It's always so interesting to me. I'm always like, in that sort of like thinking, I'm always like, well, where does the corruption genuinely start?
I think it started I think he's always been fine with it.
Yeah, because he's trying to serve. Is he trying to serve a god, or is he trying to serve JD Vance?
JD Vance.
Yeah. See, that's what. So he is Billy Graham.
But I also think the thing about, we'll get into it more.
Okay.
Sophia Nelson now noticed a change in JD's social media posts, like supporting an Arkansas bill banning gender transitioning care for minors. So the two exchanged emails. JD, quote, I recognize this is awkward, but I'll always be honest with you. I think the trans thing with kids is so unstudied that it amounts to a form of experimentation. And she's obviously like, well, I'm fucking trans. Like, what the fuck? And, quote, I have a 130. I will always love you, but I really do think the left's cultural progressivism is making it harder for normal people to live their lives.
Normal.
Jesus, could you imagine being a fucking Catholic in this time when Roe's been overturned, when the fucking entire Supreme Court has got all these religious Catholic fucking lunatics on it, and you say progressives want to fucking control your life?
Oh, yeah.
Fuck you. So that's the end of their friendship.
Good.
She would go on to then show all the emails and texts and stuff to the New York Times.
Well, did you see Trump now?
Apologies.
Did you see Trump now talking about how it is grounded nowhere near reality, but talking about how they are kids will go to school and have the transgender surgery at school?
Yeah, it's insane.
We're just like,
you're like, what?
Like, he needs someone in there in his camp who's like, hey, that's too much.
Hey, come on.
Like a grounding guy.
Yeah.
Instead, everyone's like, that's pretty good. And then 3 speeches later, he's like, you got kindergarten teachers taking penises off of beautiful baby boys, and they're making little girls chew it and say, that's now a vagina.
They're killing cats. They're also making kindergartners into cats. They're making kindergartners into cats, and they're killing the kids.
To transgender kitties. It's just unfair to do that to a cat.
So... around this time, he was asked about people sticking it out in fatherhood while others give up. JD said that was born out of the sexual revolution. Quote, These marriages were fundamentally, They were maybe even violent, but certainly they were unhappy. And so getting rid of them and making it easier for people to shift spouses like they change their underwear, that's going to make people happier in the long term. And maybe it worked out for the moms and dads, though I'm skeptical, but it really didn't work out for the kids of those marriages.
What are you talking about?
This is just straight up rad trad fucking shit.
What is he talking about? He's just talking about like orgies and like, sure, it was fun for you, but kids didn't know what was going on.
No, he's saying marriages that don't work out, unhappy marriages, it's not worth it because then the children are harmed. So these families should stick together for the children.
By the way,
he's saying dads that beat their fucking wives, the kids should stay together for the kid. He's out of his fucking mind.
Also, that is such a, even beyond the like direct domestic violence version of that. It's like if you were raised in a house, like if you're from a divorced family, I can't, so many kids, like your parents not being around each other is maybe hard, but it's so much better in the long run than being around the example of insane arguing and violence. And,
it was so much better when my parents got divorced than when they were together. Yeah, totally. Then my dad married a chair.
I do.
He also said, abortion should not be legal in cases of rape or incest. Quote, I think two wrongs don't make a right.
That is... If I rubbed a genie lamp and got one wish, it would be to give him a vagina.
I'd give him a womb, but no vagina.
That is so
it can't get out.
Two wrongs don't make a right. I mean, how about this? You get to pick. Hey, you who got fucking raped, you decide.
Well, I'm going to say.
I mean, little actual cases of an 11 or 12-year-old now having a baby because of this.
And having to leave their state to go get treatment.
Yeah. Trump eventually endorsed JD. I'm sure that had nothing to do with the gobs of money and support Thiel gave to Trump in 2016.
Yeah. Well, no, Trump would never do that.
And he won the Senate race, beating Tim Ryan 53 to 47%. You know, the guy he was on the bus with.
Yeah.
The guy
who
helped up JD Vance's profile in Ohio.
Yeah.
Attaboy. He underperformed the other statewide Republicans by 11 points, though.
Jesus.
So he's not that popular.
Yeah.
As a senator, JD is trying to make the Republican Party a more populist, nationalist, and culturally conservative. Politico, quote, he believes that the culture war is class war, that pushing back against cultural values of progressive elites is necessary to advance the economic and political interests of the working class.
I would love to sit with him for an hour and be like, walk me through that.
Yeah.
Explain that to me.
Yeah, take me through it.
How?
Yeah. He wrote a bill criminalizing gender-affirming care for transgender kids. He wrote a bill that bans federal mask mandates. 10 Democrats supported that, by the way, so enjoy that when bird flu comes. And a crackdown on affirmative action policies at colleges and universities.
Wasn't he in an affirmative action program?
I mean, dude, that's exactly what he was fucking in. Yes.
So he is, it's just when it's based on, again, like obviously you can have a field day pointing out the hypocrisy of people like this, but the very idea that you're saying, hey, I actually got advanced and I got financial aid and I got accepted because of my financial status. And then later to just be like, I don't think like that. He fully benefited from affirmative action.
Yeah. He is now just a standard run-of-the-mill MAGA idiot.
Yeah.
On Steve Bannon's podcast, he said, quote, I got to be honest with you. I don't really care what happens to Ukraine one way or the other. Like, I have a lot of opinions about Ukraine.
Yeah.
And shit that's gone wrong and is bad on the Ukrainian side as well. Like there's some not great shit. But what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like Russia invaded.
I don't think I've ever heard that opinion.
I think this is an opinion like Tucker Carlson and like Jimmy Dores have, but it's like,
I guess, yeah, because they are maybe, is it,
but
are they rooting for Like the Soviet Union?
I think they're rooting for Russia. Well, Soviet Union's gone.
I know, but that if you get but that's Putin's, vision board.
I mean, I don't understand it because you're still just like watching an invasion of people who are being killed.
You can flag the blank checksmanship of how we operate that, and I believe we're in another conflict.
And there's a lot of anti-democratic stuff that has happened and is happening.
Yes,
anti-journalists,
or flag whatever. But that is very fucked up to just be like,
it's
I
crazy.
Don't care.
It's just I don't care about Ukraine. It's a huge fucking country of people that are being
suffering.
Okay,
cool.
He thinks Biden is trying to kill Heartland kids by letting fentanyl across the border.
Well, we all agree.
Yeah, that's true. And July 2024, Trump announced Vance as his VP candidate. After all the shit JD has spoken about Trump, some wondered why.
Yes, Dave.
I've obviously laid out some here, but there is another. JD is a member of Teneo.
Of Teneo?
Teneo. Teneo.
Oh, Teneo was its name, huh?
According to ProPublica, Teneo is a shadowy conservative network of billionaires and others who want to roll back liberal values across the country. It is headed by Leonard Leo, longtime leader of the Federalist Society, extreme Catholic, who sees their success on the Supreme Court as just the beginning. Now, Leonard Leo is basically the architect of our current Supreme Court.
Wow.
He's put tons of money in. All the court shit. It's Leonard Leo. That his vision of America is the Supreme Court. And he's gotten that. Leo, quote, I just said to myself, well, if this can work for law, why can't it work for lots of other areas of American culture and American life, where things are really messed up right now?
Wow. That's fucking crazy.
Members were secret until ProPublica dropped their names. JD Vance, Josh Hawley, other congresspeople, senior aides to Ron DeSantis, the federal judge who struck down the Biden mask mandate.
Yeah. The Tampa judge.
Turning Point USA.
Wow.
And Ben Shapiro.
Oh my God, jeez. I can't believe that I'm actually on a list of this nature.
Ben Shapiro is one of those guys I'm like, dude, when they are done with us, they turn on you right away.
Yeah.
There's the Jewish guy who involves himself in this shit. You're just like, dude, their knives come for you.
I know.
That you do not walk away from this.
Yeah.
Evan Baer is a tech billionaire and protege of Thiel, and he believes that the left in America sit down together at an exclusive club, come up with plans about making all the children transgender or whatever, and then use their network.
Whatever. That's what a time for a whatever. They make all the kids transgender, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera.
And then they use their network of influence across media, academia, and politics to make it happen.
It's just like the stuff that they're doing, they're so sure other people are doing. Like their brains work on a level of awful deplorability. Is that a word? And they assume that others are doing what they're doing because they're like, how could they not?
Anytime a Republican makes an accusation, you're like, so you're doing that.
So you're gay?
Because there's no greater example. Like, that's like the truest thing for my life is when a Republican points a finger, you're like, so you're doing that thing. Then.
Well, that's where the expression, if a Republican points a finger, there's 4 pointing back at them.
I mean, always. It's crazy. 7.
Well, they're not doing... Wait.
There's 7 fingers pointing back at them.
I guess in every way that I'm remembering the hand.
Oh, no, you should think about it.
Are they missing? So you're not counting thumbs and they're missing a pinky?
Yeah.
And they're pointing with 2 hands, but
that's right.
Only 1 finger?
Duh. It's called math.
That's what you want to do.
That's a really weird way to point, my man.
The idea of Teneo...
listen, the idea of Teneo is they're basically going to come in now.
The idea of Teneo came when Baer had lunch with Thiel. And they agreed the conservative movement had been too fragmented.
Oh, my God.
And the only bright spot was the Federalist Society.
Oh, my God. This is...
And Thiel had served as president of the Stanford Federalist Society. What if there were a group similar to the Federalist Society for venture capitalists or corporate CEOs or members of the media?
So what do we need to do? We need to get battering rams and just... What?
I mean,
this check is so in the mail.
But, Mao had the right answer. I mean... Through Teneo, JD has access to billionaires' money and extremist religious and culture warriors. JD spoke at Teneo in 2021.
Jesus Christ.
And said conservatives have, quote, very few oligarchs on our side.
And when he's saying that, he's complaining, right?
Yeah. Like, how do you?
No.
How can you possibly say that conservatives don't have oligarchs on them? It is the craziest shit. Like, how much of a victim can you be, you fucking babies?
Oh boy.
It's like that Louis C.K. joke where the white guy goes to Africa and is like, "I'm the only majority here." I mean, it's the craziest ideas.
Fuck.
Very few oligarchs and have lost every institution in American society.
What are you talking about?
It's incredible.
What are you talking?
It's incredible.
This is what I'm asking. Is he knows he's lying.
He's got to.
So it's just sort of like the rah-rah. Like it's like a locker room speech where he's like, they don't respect you.
But if this is Catholic,
he can't possibly believe that.
If this is Catholic oriented, one of the bases of Christian religions is victimization. Like that's built in.
No, but you can't.
So you always have to be.
So, but I still would posit that he is saying that as rhetoric. He can't believe that.
He could.
That it would be shocking to believe that.
He could.
His little fucking weird beard.
He said they should start making corporations who are, quote, taking the side of the left in culture wars feel real economic pain.
See, but then that's what they complain about? Isn't this their huge complaint that it's just
this is like DeSantis went to war with Disney and got his fucking ass handed to him. Like that's what they're talking about.
Yeah. Good plan.
Elon Musk is a Vance supporter now, by the way.
That does not surprise me one bit.
When JD was announced as Trump's...
It's been watching Elon go from, I'm a centrist, like, yeah, fuck it. I'll just tell him what I am.
You ready for this one?
Yeah.
When JD was announced as Trump's VP, Usher Vance, a lawyer, a big corporate lawyer at the law firm... his wife.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, yeah.
A lawyer at the law firm Munger, Tolles, and Olson quit her job in order to be his stay-at-home wife.
Oh, my God.
As the rad trad Catholics want.
Oh, my God. Harrison
She
Butker.
gave up. She went to Yale. Her parents are like scientists. She went to Yale. She clerked for, even though they're the scum of the earth, SCOTUS. And now she's walking away from it all to be a trad wife.
Man.
Boop, 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 boop.
He better eat good
JD pudding?
Mm-hmm.
JD is of the new right, a different kind of far-right conservative who wants religious values steeped into everyday life and enforced by the government. He and his other post-liberals praise Hungary's nationalistic prime minister, Viktor Orban.
That's another thing they keep saying out loud.
Yeah.
You're like,
that's not good.
Some of us know him.
JD especially likes his use of financial incentives for families to have more babies. Orban's illiberal democracy includes restrictions on immigration and LGBTQ rights. JD has also praised Orban for seizing control of universities. The plan here is to replace those in charge of universities with religious nut jobs, much like Orban, regime change by staffing government with like-minded individuals. JD believes his people should do whatever it takes. Quote, I think that what Trump should do, like if I was given him one piece of advice, fire every single mid-level bureaucrat, every civil servant in the administrative state, replace them with our people,
This is Bannon.
And when the courts, because you will get taken to court, and then when the courts stop you, stand before the country like Andrew Jackson did and say the Chief Justice has made his ruling. Now let him enforce it.
So
JD Vance.
So, but it truly is. This is the. I mean, this is Bannon through and through. This is classic Steve Bannon.
I didn't know Bannon was a rad trad guy. Yeah, this is all Steve Bannon.
You just and it is. It's like very clear. Like that is why, like, to me, I'm like, you know, of all the reasons why Trump is an existential threat in many different ways and whatever. I mean, again, it would be great to have an option who wasn't also cool with genocide. But of all the things, it's like, I just want to see him like not be able to pardon himself.
Yeah.
I just want to be like, let's have a look at that.
Totally agree.
What version of this are we going to see? Because it could be goddamn deliculous. All right. Well, your couch is here, so you can't. Are they here with the couch?
Yeah.
Do you want to do any summary thoughts? I can just talk while you go help them with your couch stuff. All right. I'll just talk. I'll just finish the podcast from my thoughts before Dave does the sources. I just think it's so amazing to see, and this truly is just me in Dave's office doing this alone. I just think it is amazing to see and watch this, because a guy like JD Vance or even Peter Thiel, they are birthed out of, you know, there is a lot of rejection of the, I guess, for lack of a better term, liberal cultural policies. But in a lot of ways, that's just because they have stopped trying to feed the economic side and try to help the poor and people who really need help. And since they have sort of done that, they've decided, you know what? Yeah, we will take the culture war fight to you. And for a long time, you know, I mean, a couple decades, really, that was actually pretty effective. They were able to live off the fat of that. You know, for the most part, not entirely, obviously there's ebbs and flows, but, and then now they're starting to even lose that because they are, because the Democratic Party is also sort of unable, because they have owners too now, to really make big, bold promises. You know, you sort of see it all kind of, hey, Dave, you see it all kind of culminating in people like Peter Thiel, who are the people who are now fighting a culture war, but they're doing it on the right with the VC, you know, like Silicon Valley used to be a Democratic place. And now that you have Peter Thiel, he's kind of changed that. So now it's anybody's game all the time. And, I don't even know if that made sense because it would be helpful to have Dave here. But the other thing is that JD Vance kind of, he was like, he came, I mean, he's like Dave said, I mean, he's had all these podcast moments where you're like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? Like the cat lady shit and all that stuff. By the way, a lot of us cat mamas took offense to that. But he was kind of pitching at one point the child tax credit to some extent. I mean, I know he has chaotic views when it comes to, as we heard, like women and women's rights and all that sort of stuff, especially around pregnancy and shit. But he was sort of pitching a version of the child tax credit just so inarticulately. And the Democrats left that lane because in the first year, Biden did have the child tax credit where, you know, people who needed, I forget how much the money was, but they were, you know, they were given some money and it just helped. It helped, you know, single mothers or, you know, whatever, people who had kids and needed help. It helped a lot. And they did it for a year, I think, and then they stopped it. And then so, I mean, you know, he's able to pitch that sort of stuff because they dropped the ball. And eventually, if you keep dropping the ball, one of these motherfuckers is going to pick it up and just dunk it right on you. So anyway, that's Gareth Reynolds signing off of this podcast. Sure miss Dave. It feels a lot like in Wayne's World when Garth had to run the show. I'm worried. Anyway, I love you. And love each other. That's really important. Love one another. Find ways. Dave's texting me. Why is he texting me? Dave's texting me the best history podcast. Oh, we're on a list of the best history podcasts. I'm still going. I said the C word, so you got to cut that out. Are we on this list?
Yeah,
the bottom. So tell your friends about the Dollop, guys, because we're at the bottom of this list. There it is. Here it is. For a more humorous take on history, The Dollop is a comedy podcast where Dave Anthony and Gareth Reynolds discuss bizarre and lesser-known historical defense. All right, I got to go, everybody.
I don't have anything to say other than this guy. But this guy is a fascist, and he's the dangerous fascist we've been worried about. So
that's a faster way than what I did.
That's what he's doing.